So now we'll start looking into the parametric technique of making drawings. So parametric technique is not new and it is used in many softwares, but in AutoCAD it was introduced somewhere around year 2010. Now the parametric technique is a simple method in which drawings are made with the help of constraints or restrictions. Now these restrictions are applied on different mating parts. To explain this concept, I'll use a sample drawing. Now here in this drawing we have two similar geometries. In the first case, no parameter or no constraint has been applied, but in this case there are some constraints which are applied in between different parts of the geometries. Now in this case, if you select the geometry, you'll be able to stretch it, you will be able to modify it using these multifunction grips. Also, if I select the circle, I'll be able to modify its geometry, and all of these changes are independent of the remaining geometries. Now let's move on to this part of the geometry. In this case, if I select the geometry, the grips will be highlighted obviously, but if I try to move the geometry with any of these grips, they behave in a particular fashion, and in this case rest of the geometry is also moving with that, it's not deforming. So I'll press Ctrl Z, and now in this case also, if you look at these two constraints which look like dimensions, they are quite dependent on each other. Now let's say that here we have the radius 1 as 25 and the radius 2 for this arc as defined by this formula. Now they are completely dependent on each other, and if I change radius 1, it will change automatically. So I'll double click on this and I'll change the radius 1 to 40, and now as soon as I press enter, you'll notice that the complete geometry reacted in accordance with the change, and in this case the arc length increased and also rest of the geometry changed because the parametric constraints are applied in between different parts of the same geometry. So that's the difference between a simple geometry and a parametric geometry. Now these parameters or constraints are applied with the help of parametric tab. So I'll press Ctrl Z to get back to the original drawing, and now here when you go to this parametric tab, you'll see all the tools which are related to this parametric technique. Now in this case we have this geometric panel on which all the geometric constraints are listed which are related to the geometry obviously, and in this panel we have the dimensional constraints which are related to the dimensions, for example the linear dimension, the radius, the diameter or the angle. Also we have another panel here which is manage panel, which will be used to add formulas and other features to the parametric drawing. So we'll learn about all of them in the upcoming videos.